Hi, my name is Josh, and my topic is the danger of diet sodas. So by a show of hands, how many people drink diet soda? Okay, so you might be familiar with this situation. You're coming back from a hefty workout, sweating and looking for something to quench your thirst. You target a soda, maybe a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola, but then you stop yourself and you think, and you reach for the diet version. Many of you made the decision for the right motive, but what many people don't realize is that the trade-off of calories for chemicals might have been just as damaging to your health. My main claim is that consumption of diet soda poses more of a health risk than consumption of naturally sweetened soda. By definition, diet sodas are carbonated beverages sweetened with low or zero-calorie chemicals. Health risks are ailments that are conducive to poor or ill health, such as disease, cancer, or obesity. First, I will show that chemicals in diet soda bring about adverse effects. Next, I'll explain why consumption of diet over regular soda encourages unhealthy habits. And finally, I will clarify how diet soda leads to more weight gain than full-calorie soda. My first point, that chemicals in diet soda bring about adverse effects, is largely backed by the use of the sweeteners aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame potassium. In the book Aspartame, Is It Safe?, H.J. Roberts, a medical doctor and director of the Palm Beach Institute for Medical Research, states, when digested, the inorganic chemical aspartame is broken down by the body into three more basic chemicals, phenylalanine, aspartic acid, and methanol, all three of which have been shown to pose relative dangers. Of the three, methanol seems most likely to cause ill effects. Roberts also mentions that in all amounts, methanol is considered toxic, and the lowest recorded fatal dose is 3 teaspoons of 40% methanol. Severe reactions to methanol poisoning have shown occurrences of blindness, brain damage, coma, and possible death. In addition, the recommended federal limit of consumption of methanol is 7.8 milligrams per day. In perspective, a 1 liter aspartame-sweetened beverage contains about 56 milligrams of methanol. Another common sweetener here in the U.S. is sucralose, otherwise known as Splenda. Although generally considered safer than aspartame, sucralose has been found to cause weight gain and decreased appetite. An excerpt from the 2006 issue of the medical journal Comprehensive Reviews in Food Science and Food Safety mentions, while the FDA was still trying to establish an acceptable daily intake for sucralose, additional research beyond the routine studies were required. This was because it was unclear whether the reductions in food intake and weight gain that occurred in rats fed high doses of sucralose were due to toxicity. In other words, although the mice fed sucralose ate less, they still gained more weight than the mice in the control group. The FDA still provides no formal explanation for these findings. Although relatively new to the chemical sweetener application, acesulfame potassium, otherwise known by its trade name Sunnet, has already shown troubling results. Also, according to the Comprehensive Reviews of Food Science and Safety, acesulfame potassium apparently produced lung tumors, breast tumors, rare types of tumors of other organs, several forms of leukemia, and chronic respiratory disease in several rodent studies, even when less than maximum doses were given. According to the Center for Science and the Public Interest, due to these findings, it was petitioned on August 29, 1988 for a stay of approval by the FDA because of significant doubt about its safety. Although this hold was later overturned, the studies used to disprove the occurrence of cancer were not carried out until death, as was the initial study. My second claim, that consumption of diet over regular soda encourages unhealthy habits, is led by the findings of Susan Swithers, a professor of psychological sciences at the University of Purdue, which were published in the 2004 International Journal of Obesity. In the study, 2 groups of rats were fed either artificially sweetened liquids or sugar-sweetened liquids alone, in addition to their regular diet. After 10 days, the rats were offered a sweet, high-calorie snack. The findings show that the rats fed the artificially sweetened liquids ate more of their regular chow after the sweet snack than those who had been fed sugar-sweetened liquids. This finding suggests that subjects exposed to artificially sweetened liquids not only eat more, but will continue to be hungry after they've eaten high-calorie foods. Assuming the human central nervous system responds similarly to mice, as is accepted across the scientific community. This would mean that diet soda would blunt a human's response to feeling full after eating sugary foods. My third claim, that diet soda leads to more weight gain than full-calorie soda, is supported by a 2005 study conducted by Sharon P. Fowler, a Master of Public Health at the University of Texas Health Science Center. The study was comprised of 1,550 Houston, Texas residents aged 25 to 64 who participated in a 7 to 8 year study. The study evaluated regular and diet soda consumption separately and looked at their correlation to obesity risk. At the end of the study, Fowler stated, "What didn't surprise us was that total soft drink use was linked to overweight and obesity. What was surprising was when we looked at people only drinking diet soft drinks, their risk of obesity was even higher. On average, the study found that each additional can of diet versus non-diet soda consumed daily led to a 12.3% increase in obesity risk." Although varying levels of consumption were studied, the largest difference was found in the more typical usage scenario of 1 to 2 cans consumed daily. This scenario showed a 21.7% increase in obesity risk when consuming diet soda instead of non-diet. From these findings, my claims that chemicals in diet soda cause adverse effects, like consumption of diet soda encourages unhealthy habits, and that diet soda leads to more weight gain than full-calorie soda, support the idea that diet sodas pose more health risks than regular sodas.
All right, proposition's clear. The supporting points are previewed, although they're not really phrased as claims sometimes. They phrased as questions, and you want declarative statements on those points. The signposting, when you got to the individual points, though, was very clear and easy to follow. The definition of the sweeteners on the first point was pretty good, although I think we need some more cumulative data, especially since the one that you were talking about that you start with was originally, they put the hold on in 1988, so we need some epidemiological data to go along with the individual studies, because it seems like there would be substantial information since then. You're kind of relying on the animal studies that were done at the time, or a couple of experimental situations. So I think we'd get more data on that one. The other two forms of sweeteners, a little bit less on that. The analysis of what the contents are is okay, although there's some it wasn't quite clear what the risk levels were. You were talking about the amount, the number of milligrams of you kept calling it methanol or methadone? Methanol, yeah. And the ratio of that in the sodas, I think, needed to be a little bit clearer. You had the dosage level from the FDA. You had the one information on the 2-liter bottle, I guess it was, that you were talking about. We need, again, same kind of thing. We could use some epidemiological evidence on that. I thought that you did an excellent job citing your sources. You explained what the studies were. You didn't do a very good job at looking at the audience and convincing us on this, and I think sometimes you're a little dependent on 1 or 2 studies that make inferences and conclusions, like that last one about the sweetness rate and the way they react to that. So, big inference. Okay.